We'll record our conversation. So, some of you might be posted on YouTube. Okay. Your names will not be mentioned. I promise. Of course, in accordance with the policies of the school district. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question up here is, what is a knowledge issue? Here you have a working definition. What seems to come to mind to help clarify? Any instant reactions or ideas to what a knowledge issue is?
Maybe narrow-mindedness.
What about it?
Like if you have one point of view and you only stick with it and you don't let anybody else's opinions or questions affect what you think or believe in.
Okay. So are you saying that narrow-mindedness would be the opposite of a knowledge issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Or well, no, it is an issue in my opinion because you'll never learn anything.
Okay. Hello. Yes. I had none. I think she had planned on submitting it traditionally. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sorry for the interruption. So narrow-mindedness is a knowledge issue to be kind of
for me
assessed.
Yes. An issue for me would be something that prevents you from doing something. An issue for me would be like maybe being in a wheelchair is an issue because if you're a rock climber, you're wanting to do something, you can't because that doesn't allow you to do something. And being narrow-mindedness is also something that affects your learning ability.
So it limits your...
Yeah, it limits your knowledge because you yourself is saying, oh, I'm smart, I know everything, so I don't need to listen to anybody else.
Okay. All right, good. Thanks for leading that off. How about someone else? Knowledge issue. It's a question that directly refers to our understanding of the world, and it connects to the acquisition, search for, production, shaping, and acceptance of knowledge. Go for it.
I think a lot of falsehoods. I think that there's a lot of not necessarily lies, but just misconceptions and misconstrued ideas. And very often do we get the true facts and unbiased, untapped, and
Okay. So misinformation.
Right.
Seems to be. You feel that you have come in contact with a lot, and that when you hear misinformation, a knowledge issue develops out of that. Like, hey, here is a conflict of information. That's when we have to start going down this road. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea of misinformation, okay, or false knowledge. What are other terms that go along with that from your experience?
Misleading, maybe?
Something's misleading, it's misinformation, it's false knowledge. Misconstrued connections. What's that?
Bias.
Bias. Okay. Asa, can you open the door, please? Bias. What is bias?
Opinionated viewpoint.
An opinionated viewpoint. Okay. So if we're in pursuit of knowledge or truth, what do we do with bias?
We want to let go of our bias.
Yeah, we see what we want to, I guess.
Narrow-minded.
Okay, we want to avoid bias and narrow-mindedness. Absolutely. If you're seeking truth, you're not emotionally attached to your original point of view. It means that you're saying, hey, this is what I think. How close is this to reality? And I'm willing to change my mind. Good. What else?
I was just kind of say, like, to let go of your bias allows you to objectively seek the truth, in my opinion. That word objectively really means the opposite of bias.
Okay. Why is that? What does objectivity do that bias does not?
Ignores outside factors, I guess, and preconceived notions.
Prejudgments, preconceived notions are prejudices. They're let go of in order to attain objectivity, right? Good. So bias. We want to avoid bias in favor of objectivity. What other terms come to mind? How about propaganda? Did someone already say that today? The use of propaganda.
Can you explain that to me? Propaganda, what it means.
Good. What is propaganda?
It's like false advertising.
Sort of.
So, like,
But
Like a
it's
biased
designed
point of view.
Yeah, it's
to
Yeah, it's-
influence the public
the
towards
public
a general.
opinion.
A biased perspective on a topic disseminated in public in order to get what?
A favorable opinion.
Can you say that again?
A favorable opinion from the masses.
To influence opinion in order to usually do what? Go ahead.
Well, didn't they use propaganda in, was it World War II?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Brainwashing.
anywhere
Ha.
you use.
Well, I was gonna
Brainwashing
say,
is it.
yeah, I mean,
People in,
okay, so World War II seems to be a topic that comes up a lot in this class. And being Americans, what do we usually point our fingers at? Nazi propaganda. Did the Americans engage in propaganda during World War II?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You ever see those film reels? Like, those are trailers for movies. Like, you'd go in to see a movie and you'd have like
A little mini
a
movie.
mini war propaganda film.
The
You know.
Disney ones. Those were some good.
Have you seen the ones that they made the full length? They're in the archives. I was going through the videos in the archives, and they have these ones, and it's basically they were like, there's the dark world with Nazis, and there's the good world, and they're like full length features, like 2 hours, just.
Well, the government employed a lot of filmmakers to make those films. Absolutely. So, there's propaganda all the way around, but it's really to persuade people's ideas and sentiments, but then to do what with them?
Getting their support.
How do you get power from
Well,
persuading
when
them?
everyone goes with your opinion, when everyone believes you, and there's really no other side, and they don't like realize that you're even influencing them, then all of a sudden, like you're on top and you can dictate everything they do.
Okay. So it's easier to manipulate things. What else?
I have an example for that. There was a criminal case they're trying to do, and they were saying, I wonder if you can influence somebody's thinking. And what they did, they put a whole classroom of college students, like maybe 100 students, and they put a purse in the middle of the room, unnoticeably, and then someone came in and took the purse in the middle of class and then ran out. And then the teacher said, oh, I don't remember much of him, but I know he had a funny nose and he had a blue jacket. So everybody gave correct detail, but then they would add on, he had a funny nose, he had a big nose, he had a crooked nose. And they didn't do it like obnoxiously saying, he had a funny nose, let's all say this. But they all got off it, they leached off
the
of
tape,
it.
and it was totally normal.
It's back to that authority figure issue, isn't it?
Yeah, the teacher
Like,
that said
It
it.
was suggested by an authority figure. It's like,
So suggestive, subliminally, like.
Yeah, that's why when you like arrest someone or you want like what someone looks like, you can never like give them any like you can't say like, oh, is he bald? Did he have blue eyes? You can't say any of that because then you're like, oh, yeah,
Maybe he
Or
did.
even say,
Yeah.
what did he look like? Influences
Yeah.
the gender in which you tell. I guess, do you want to add something?
Well, yeah, that's the whole basis for sociology, and
Now we know why he wanted to.
selfie. And I was just doing a paper on Henrik Ibsen, and yeah, I don't think this is working. Anyway, hi. So I wrote a paper about Henrik Ibsen, and in a book called An Enemy of the People, or a play called An Enemy of the People. It's about basically a guy who finds out that these people are polluting these bathwaters that draw all these tourists, and he tries to tell the government, and they won't do anything about it because it'll get people to leave their place. And then he tries to tell the people, and the people that are in charge of the baths say, you're wrong, because they don't want to lose business, even though they know he's right. He's a scientist. And even his best friends turn against him. And Ibsen is trying to point out that democracy doesn't always work, and many times if it becomes too powerful, it can become really corrupt and take over. And so Ibsen said that a man who stands alone is the strongest of all. And There was another one. It was the minority is sometimes right, but the majority is never right. And so, usually, even if there is a majority and a lot of people agree on something, something has been misconstrued, and then everybody follows that because
gossip.
they're part of that.
Yeah, it's that group think, right? When we and if you look at history, when people talk about the challenges within democracy, they refer to it as mob rule, right? Then the minority becomes the victim of the majority. However, when we get back to the knowledge issue thing here, what I was going for here is these ideas and sentiments, they result in action. And that's really what gives the majority power, isn't it? It's when people are willing to act on these things. So, going back to the example that Ashley brought in, can you say that again?
May your faith turn into wisdom and the will to believe, and in the fire of your burning, may belief turn to knowing.
Okay. Faith, wisdom, belief, knowledge. So we look at that transition in the human experience, and we try to bring that in here as well. We will now watch a film that kind of helps illustrate a knowledge issue, a good example of a knowledge issue in real life. Because right now we're speculating what a knowledge issue might look like, what might be things that we identify, like bias, objectivity, propaganda, democracy versus mob rule. Like these are things that we want to entertain. That goes back to Friday's discussion of group knowledge versus personal or individual knowledge. And we're going to look at an example. So this is Sir Kenneth Robinson, and you can stop now.
All right.